So this is the Microsoft Surface Laptop Studio, and this device is pretty interesting because it's kind of like a transformer because it's a laptop when it's like this, then it also turns into a tablet like this, and then there's also this other mode that they call stage mode, which is like this. So I primarily live in an Apple ecosystem, but I've used plenty of Windows devices over the years, and I still currently do for some development work. But for content creation for this YouTube channel, as well as my other YouTube channel, I use Macs. But this device intrigued me for quite a few reasons, and I'm an equal opportunity reviewer, so I thought I'd just go ahead and give it a whirl. Plus, I always think it's a good idea to try devices that are outside of my comfort zone just to get a good idea of what's out there. So I've been using this new Surface Laptop Studio for about the last week or so, and what I thought I'd do in this video is give my first impressions of this device from a Mac user's perspective, and then I'll have a follow-up video where I'll have a full in-depth review of how this device performs for all the tasks that I do as a content creator. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to get a notification when that video drops. So the reason this device intrigued me is that I have a MacBook Pro as well as an iPad Pro, and both do what they do well, but sometimes when I'm traveling, if I need to save a bit of weight in my backpack, I choose to leave one at home. And the new MacBook Pros with the M1 Pro and M1 Max chips are definitely super exciting from a power standpoint, but interestingly, they still don't come with touchscreens where laptops from a lot of other manufacturers do. Now, initially, I never thought I'd use a touchscreen on a laptop, but I've definitely found myself on a couple occasions touching the screen of my MacBook Pro and then just kind of feeling dumb that nothing happened. And then when I'm on my iPad Pro, I get the touchscreen along with plenty of power, but less flexible experience in terms of the operating system where I wish I had the full-blown Mac OS like on my laptop. And that's what's intriguing about this device is that it's a laptop, it's a tablet, and there's really not much difference at all in terms of the operating experience in either mode. And having used this for the last week or so, I have to say that it's definitely pretty versatile. So when using it as a laptop, the experience is pretty nice, and it starts off with a very convenient facial recognition unlock where you just open up the laptop and boom, it's unlocked and ready to go. And then another part of that nice laptop experience has to do with the keyboard. So as a Mac user, there's just a certain feel to Mac keyboards, maybe with the exception to the butterfly keyboard, but this keyboard was super easy to get used to, where on a lot of other Windows machines that I've used, the spacing was just a little bit different, the feel of the keys was just a little bit different, just something was different enough where I wasn't quite as proficient. But this keyboard took basically no time at all to get used to, and it probably should because, well, it does share a striking resemblance to the era of MacBooks without the touch bar. And then with the trackpad, just like the keyboard, it was also pretty easy to get used to. It's predictable, the haptic feedback is good, there's plenty of gestures, and I found it to work really well. And then of course, in addition to the keyboard and the trackpad, it also has a touchscreen. Again, on laptops, I don't necessarily rely on a touchscreen as a primary input source, but it's just that we're getting into this era where nearly everything does have a touchscreen, whether you choose to use them or not. And I've just found it convenient at times that this device at least has one. It has a 14.4-inch display with a resolution of 2400 by 1600. It has a 3:2 aspect ratio, which is a bit different than some other laptops on the market, but this aspect ratio works well for a convertible device like this, where I think that if they used a 16:9 or 16:10 aspect ratio, the tablet experience may feel a little bit odd. And then there's also this in-between mode they call a stage mode, where the display can move forward and it hides the keyboard, but you can still use the trackpad. This is kind of an interesting mode where you have the convenience of the trackpad, but the touchscreen is also closer to you. In this mode, you can use an on-screen keyboard, but I found it to be a little bit awkward ergonomically in some positions as I kind of had to bend my wrist to tap on the screen. This mode tends to work well like if I'm on the couch or in a more relaxed position, but I find it not as convenient when I'm sitting at a desk. But then it also converts into a tablet, and being able to convert it from a laptop to a tablet, especially from the perspective of somebody who owns a laptop as well as a tablet, this is pretty convenient just having one device. And then what's also nice is that they have the Surface Pen, which provides an additional way of interacting with this device, whether you're in tablet mode or laptop mode or even at stage mode. Although I wish it was a little bit longer like the Apple Pencil. The Surface Slim Pen 2 fits perfectly tucked up right under the front of the device using magnets where it can charge, and I appreciate that it feels like it has a home right here with their kind of rather unique design of this kind of two-tier thing going on the base, where if you look at it from the top, it appears super thin, but then if you look at it from the side, you can see the true height of the device. The build quality also seems pretty good from what I can tell so far. It's solid, it's not hollow or plasticky, and it's definitely on the premium end of things. The hinge is also pretty robust, and there's not much flex at all. But in between the modes right here, there will be a little bit of flex, but obviously this is in between modes. There is one area that I noticed right around the display where there's this ever so slight gap here where it doesn't quite match the fit and finish of the rest of the laptop. It's kind of odd. It's not super obvious unless you look really close at it, but it's just something I thought I'd mention. Oh, and then for ports, the port selection resembles what you get on that generation of MacBooks when Apple took our port selection away, where the Surface Laptop Studio, it has 2 USB-C ports with Thunderbolt 4 on the left-hand side and then magnetic charging on the right, as well as a headphone jack. But being that I do own one of those MacBook Pros that only has USB-C, I've got plenty of dongles to spare. And then on the software end of things, this thing runs the new Windows 11, which is probably one of the biggest overhauls Windows has had in a while. It has their new center dock, which people either love or hate, but worry not, if you're used to it being left aligned, there's an option to switch it. I'm definitely not as proficient using Windows as much as Mac OS, but what's nice about my workflow is that nearly all the programs I use, which are Google Chrome, Evernote, and the Adobe Creative Suite, are available on both Macs as well as Windows. So I don't have any dependencies there, but AirDrop definitely has been something I already miss as a content creator, although I do use Dropbox, which definitely helps a ton. So these were just my first impressions of the Surface Laptop Studio from Microsoft, and I have to say that I'm pretty excited to give this a whirl from a content creation standpoint. So I'll be using it for lots of research using Google Chrome, script writing using Evernote, as well as more power-hungry tasks like video editing using Premiere Pro, and then photo editing using Lightroom as well as Photoshop. So far, I'm really enjoying the convenience factor of this device, and we're going to have to see how well it does for all those tasks. And if you do have any questions or curiosities about this device that you'd like me to address in my in-depth review, make sure to leave a comment down in the comments section down below. And if you found the information in this video useful, do me a favor and just hit that like button down below. It's a small little thing that you can do that'll help this video and the channel a lot, quite a bit, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.